Hello, everybody. It is the Rotoworld Football Show. It is Christmas Eve, December 23rd, 2024. Make the old joke where I finally know what year it is, and it's about to change. Denny Carter. I just revealed our co-host today. It's Mr. Denny Carter. We have a lot to talk about on the special Monday edition. No waivers Q&A tonight with Mr. Kyle. Denny and I getting jump on Tuesday's show on Monday. Tomorrow's news today, Denny, and that includes Kenneth Walker, hurt yet again. James Conner, injured, potentially out for the fantasy finals. Drake London, seemingly day to day, maybe hour to hour, maybe not actually injured at all. We'll get to that. Then we'll preview the Christmas Day doubleheader, that I was dying for. Not to complain, whatever. I know a lot of people are probably happy. Chiefs at the Steelers. We're going to about the return of Hollywood Brown, what his usage was like on Saturday, what it could be like going forward. If Patrick Mahomes is startable for the fantasy finals, George Pickens' status, Najee Harris somehow getting even more cooked. I look forward then to Ravens, Texans, including fallout from Tank Dell's really, really gruesome season-ending injury. One that unfortunately sounds like he might even have his career in doubt. And Thursday night, the Seahawks at the Bears, Denny. Like I said, it's Christmas Eve. I'm trying to brand this. I'm trying to make it like a commercial holiday. We need like the Black Friday, but for Christmas. Black Friday is not about Christmas. We need another Black Friday. We just need one right before Christmas and Christmas Eve.
Black Friday lasts 10 days now.
I know it's true. Of 10 months, I get like Amazon emails like July 18th, like it's Black Friday sales beginning. Like, do you need 70% off a BMX helmet? Like, probably not.
but sure, I'll buy it.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I think, but I'll buy it just to be safe. I was going to ask you about commercialism, holiday shopping, and what is your Christmas strategy, as it were, shopping strategy, as it were? Do you have one? Have you done any Christmas shopping yet here on December 23rd, 2024?
So I used to be really bad about this, and I would wait. I would follow my dad's example, and I would wait until literal Christmas Eve.
So never, ever follow a boomer dad's example. No offense to the boomers, but the boomer dad, truly nothing they're worse at than Christmas shopping.
No, nothing, because they're the first generation of men to ever Christmas shop.
They were,
yes. And so they had no idea what they're doing.
They had no blueprint. Yeah,
no blueprint. Their dad's never Christmas shopped. You kidding me?
The idea of my World War II grandfather Christmas shopping. It is genuinely farcical.
Yeah. So he used to take. So my dad used to take me and my brother to the mall,
of course,
which was a war zone. Basically,
so you get in a fist fight in the parking lot. That's what all boomer dads did when they went to the mall.
Then not that, but sometimes there was some conflict with the long lines and whatnot, and we would buy stuff, and of course everything's like out or almost out. But anyway, I used to do that. Last couple years ago. I stopped doing that, and I actually can say that I was done Christmas shopping before December 1st.
See, to me, that you're part of the problem. Denny and I sometimes off air will lament efficiency culture. You're part of the problem. You're so efficient. You're not even Christmas shopping in December anymore.
I'm sorry, man. It was too much stress. It was too much for me. I couldn't. I was traumatized by the last couple of years. I said, no, I can't do it. I got to get this done. Also, getting back to Black Friday, you got to take advantage of those sales, because I got some good sales, man. I can't divulge them on air and at risk of spoiling the presents for my wife and kids. But wow, I couldn't afford not to buy these things.
Denny, you want to know my Christmas shopping strategy?
Yeah, what is it?
It's called better get ready to learn expedited shipping, buddy.
That's good.
No, I liked shopping, to be honest, and I planned shopping for a while. So my strategy now for gifts as an adult, the Notes app on your phone, if you have an iPhone, I'm sure Android has a similar Notes type app. As the year goes, so I get a lot of books, and I like to buy books for people. So as the year goes, I'll take notes. Like if I come across a book, I'll do book : so it's easily shoppable, and I'll write down the book on an iPhone note, or I do gift : if I think of a gift idea.
Right.
So a lot of times I have a lot of ideas, but then I'm a deadlines spur action type of person.
Oh, yes, you are.
So I've amassed all this information and planning. There's maps and everything everywhere. And I'm planning, but then it's December 15th. And I've got my mom or my wife being like, do you want it? What do you want? And I always have I have a Christmas list as an adult, which is very not cool. but I always want like 10 books or anything.
Oh, you make a list for yourself.
I make a list for myself, but no, also for other people, I'm saying.
Okay.
But like, so I spend a lot of time preparing a list for myself and for other people. But then like I spend more time doing that than the actual shopping. And so it's like December 18th, like, oh, surely they can still get it here before Christmas. And like, they never, the website just like shakes its hand at me. Like,
hey, for $44, we can do it.
I know.
Yeah,
and
that's what it says.
Listen, that's a baked in cost to me.
The baked in cost. You could have got it for free if you did it 2 weeks earlier.
Not only do I do that, I also do the old fashioned mall cruise too. My brother and I go shopping every year, and we're like, surely we can easily find a gift for our dad and mom.
It's horrible.
It's never like, it's always like, does dad need compression socks? How many times have we gotten mom's soap?
Right.
Do you have any idea, Mikey?
How many candles do we need?
We've adopted a new no candles policy. My mom supposedly likes candles. Never seen her burn one that I got her.
No, I know. Well, that's the thing is once you get dubbed a candle person, it's over for you. I mean,
I know.
You're never getting anything else.
No, I know. You can never, even if you do like candles, never cop to liking candles.
No, I made that mistake with my grandmother. One time I was like, I enjoy a candle. And so 7 years straight, I've gotten candles for Christmas.
Well, there you go. Denny, there will be no candles for Kenneth Walker, man. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's hurt again, Denny. He wasn't playing through a calf injury. He missed 2 weeks. He returned on Sunday against the Vikings. Our thoughts, or at least my thought was, there's just no way Kenneth Walker is going to immediately reassume in every snap roll. And he immediately reassumes in every snap
instantly.
Roll. And then like, all right, whatever. They still trust him as an every down player. No way he'll instantly get hurt again. He's hurt again already. And he's hurt. Ankle injury. They're on the short week this week. Right? Am I hallucinating that? Yeah, they are. Yeah, we're talking about it later in the show. And this is big enough news. I thought we couldn't save it to the end when we preview the Seahawks and Bears on Thursday night. Kenneth Walker, MRI. By the time you hear this show, he might already be declared out. What did you see in Kenneth Walker's return? Because you watched this game. We talked about this a little on Sunday too. And what can we forecast for the fantasy finals, the short week, Thursday evening? If you're a Kenneth Walker manager, are you just making plans to be without him for the most important week of the year?
Yeah, because I mentioned this on the Sunday review pod. Walker was declared doubtful immediately to return, and so that's kind of a signal that it wasn't just a normal kind of ankle injury, short week. I would say that there's next to no chance that he plays. So that would put Charbonnet in a fantastic matchup.
I'll just say he's the ultimate Kenneth Walker. I mean, I seriously, every time I form like a concrete opinion on Kenneth Walker, well, there's no way that's going to happen. And yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we think this. We think we know something about injuries, but I would just, if it was Sunday, if the game was on Sunday, that would be different, I think. But I would guess that Thursday will be a tough task for him. Yeah, so I think Charbonnet would be in the driver's seat. Walker saw 8 targets, caught all 8 for 24 yards, the most useless targets of all time. The Seahawks, I'll mention it. I'll mention it now, just because I was going to say it later while we talked about the Bears Seahawks, but it matters as far as Charbonnet goes. Seahawks 14% over their expected pass rate in week 16. That's the pass heaviest they've been since week 5. Wow. So that is, I think that's significant, and that could continue against Chicago, although the Bears are a run funnel.
I was going to say, what kind of funnel are the Bears? I was pretty sure it was a run funnel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We know the Seattle's preferred style of play is the ground.
Yeah,
the Geno thing on Sunday seemed like more like emergency mode. Like from the opening whistle, they basically knew they couldn't win by running the ball against the Vikings for a variety of reasons. The Vikings stopped the run, and the Vikings have an explosive offense. I do think they're going to try to go right back to that well, which I do think if Kenneth Walker remains sidelined, Zach Charbonnet, you don't love it, but one part of the nature of the fantasy playoffs is you're playing guys that you haven't been relying on all year. It doesn't feel great.
Right.
Like it's frequent phenomenon in the fantasy finals. It could be week 17 and you start someone that you've never once started.
Yes. That's
I think you have to trust Zach Charbonnet as week 17 start. He emerged unscathed, right? With his health.
Yeah,
on Sunday.
He was okay. Didn't touch the ball until near the end of the third quarter. It tells you how far down the pecking order he was compared to Walker. But yeah, he would be the lead back. 20 touches is definitely in the range of outcomes against Chicago.
Definitely in the range of outcomes. You might not love it, but this is what peak plug and play RB2 performance looks like. Yeah. Zach Charbonnet. We're hoping there's a plug and play option for the Cardinals, Denny, after James Conner injured his knee and the Arizona's really dispiriting loss to Arizona or to Carolina. But there's your first problem, was the dispiriting loss. It knocks Arizona out of playoff contention. James Conner, as everyone knows, is one of like the toughest players in the league. He's kind of like a gamer's gamer. And like if he doesn't play through an injury, that's when you know it's pretty bad. He spent probably 5 or 6 minutes of real time trying to get his knee like shook out, like just good to go on the sideline and couldn't do it. Finished the game on the sideline, but the season was on the line and he didn't play. Yeah. So you know that's probably a serious issue for James, even if it's not serious enough where he's going to miss time, especially Arizona being knocked out of the playoffs. I would consider James Conner like well on the wrong side of questionable for their short week game on Saturday night against the Rams. And Amari DiMercato is on injured reserve with a back injury. Trey Benson didn't log a single practice rep last week with his ankle injury. Maybe that changes this week since they need a lead back so bad. But Denny, it looks like Michael Carter is somehow the next man up. DJ Dallas is also on Arizona. But is it Michael Carter for fantasy finals week, Denny?
So I was actually reminded of something that Johnny Venerable, the Cardinals beat writer who, we talked to the last 2 off seasons about the Cardinals headed into each season. He mentioned Michael Carter during our conversation as a guy who the coaching staff really loved. Now, that hasn't translated to anything, but it could really truly mean something here. Carter was the only other good last name, by the way. Carter was the only other running back besides Conner to log a snap last week against the Panthers. He had 25 snaps. He was targeted on 5 of his 16 routes, which is really strong. He had 5 rushes for 18 yards, averaged 3.5 yards after contact. It would kind of look good. And honestly, Pat, what is the incentive of playing James Conner? Like, there's zero reason. I think that he has almost no chance to play.
There's even less incentive to play him since they extended him recently. So he's still part of their future plans. It could be one thing. They could maybe allow themselves to be talked into it. James Conner, seriously, the gamer's gamer. Yes, he probably does want to play. Yeah. And if he weren't under contract next year, they'd be like, all right, if you insist, like this is how you want to go into the offseason, you can do it. But now he's part of their future plans. Yeah, I see, again, they're playing Saturday night. There's NFL trying to set a new record for short week games this week. There's 6 of them. 6 short week games.
Are there any on Sunday?
No, there are. I know. To me, if I were the NFL, Christmas would be the day I would take off instead of December 29th. But there are no games on Sunday, December 29th, Denny. So we're not doing a preview show on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern with Kyle.
All right. That's news to me.
You do hate to see it. You laid out everything with Michael Carter there. Surely that means he caught the touchdown from the backfield, right, Denny? It was Michael Carter that caught that touchdown out of the Arizona backfield and not DJ Dallas.
DJ Dallas seemed to have caught that touchdown, and that's unfortunate for everybody involved. But I would be surprised if Dallas figures into this too much.
Well, I think he will play a little bit. Not Michael Carter, clearly the lead back. The Rams, not a great run defense. Michael Carter, though, the offense is bad enough. The situation's uncertain enough. Unlike Zach Charbonnet, we're not going to label Michael Carter a plug-and-play RB2. But how do you feel about him as like a sicko flex play, Denny?
Oh, yeah. I will be picking him up in my most important league to try to play because
it's not a surprise.
And by the way, I think DJ Dallas, by the looks of it, looks like he's converting to fullback.
Is our guy beefed up?
He's large.
He's large. I actually didn't notice that when he
when
he scored the touchdown yesterday. I was covering this game. I just immediately started weeping. I didn't actually really pay much attention to him.
That was a tough one. I am glad to know that DJ Dallas plays for the Cardinals because I did not know that going into Week 16.
I quite genuinely did not either. And did you know Jamison Crowder played for the Commanders?
I truly did not.
Like, is this like his 7th tour of duty with them or something?
I think it's the 3rd, really. I think it's actually his 3rd tour with the team. I thought he was a wide receivers coach for the Commanders. So when I saw him out there,
I was pretty sure that was wrong when you said that yesterday, but it didn't seem like impossible.
And then I was like, wait a second, what? Yeah, and then he 2 targets on 15 routes, catches both of them for touchdowns, obviously.
This obviously, I don't know. I didn't have a good segue. I was trying to think while I was like, yeah, segue. I hit the segue button in my brain. Like, yeah,
nothing happened.
No, absolutely nothing happened. Tell you where absolutely nothing happened, and it was the Falcons and Giants game yesterday. Because the G-men did not compete. They are so horrifyingly bad. It's almost difficult to put into words. That's why Drake London, there wasn't a ton of passing game volume in Michael Penix's starting debut because Atlanta just didn't need to do that. But when there was, he was looking Drake London's way an awful lot. I believe 8 targets on 21 attempts, maybe. Massive target share for Drake London. He caught 5 of them. He does get injured, though, in the fourth quarter. Also, at the body part, you never want to hear hamstring.
Yeah.
The score was 34-7 at the time. Raheem Morris did claim after the game he could have gone back in. We think we'll see Drake London out there for the fantasy finals. It's against the Commanders, Denny. It's going to be a much more competitive game. A game where presumably Atlanta's going to be passing a lot more. How good do we feel about Drake London, who now has 2 major variables and a rookie quarterback and a hamstring tweak?
Yeah, I mean, you don't feel great about it, but honestly, things could not get more conservative for the Atlanta offense than they were against Giants, and for good reason. I mean, defense scores 2 touchdowns. You're playing against Drew Lock, who's getting berated every time he goes to the sideline by Brian Dable. I actually felt bad for your guy, Drew Lock, but the Falcons were 11% under their expected pass rate against the Giants. They were 14% under on first downs, so they basically just did not throw it on first down. Michael Penix was fine. He was a little bit under his expected completion rate, but his expected completion rate was 72%, which tells you something about the kind of throws he was asked to make, the easy throws, easy button throws, some would say. So he only had 2 throws over 20 yards. He completed 1 of those for 22 yards. And he was pressured on 9 dropbacks. He took 0 sacks on those 9 pressures. And that's sort of his calling card, right? Like, well, I'm not going to give you like the negative plays that set back the offense. We're going to keep this thing moving forward. So overall, I think it was a positive thing. I think he made at least 2 throws that I saw where you said, okay, Kirk Cousins simply cannot do that.
No, they're honestly probably more than 2. There's a lot of middle of the field. He was living in the moth, Denny.
Yes, the moth.
It was like laser beams, and this arm strength that Kirk Cousins probably never had.
Right.
It seems like arm strength very few current quarterbacks have. It's kind of a long motion and windup for Michael Penix, but he gets velocity on the ball. It was pretty impressive to see. In terms of the matchup this week for Week 17, Denny, aren't the Commanders a run funnel?
They are the most extreme run funnel, and I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to be conservative. Although, like you said, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are going to push the Falcons way more than Drew Lock and the Giants could.
The Commanders are weird too in that they hemorrhage rushing production. They've allowed the 4th fewest passing yards. They've also allowed 24 passing touchdowns, which is amongst the worst in the league. Not like a good quarterback rating against. I'm sure some analytics people are dying that I'm citing QB rating against, but doesn't feel like they're really like a great pass defense. It's more that they're such a bad run defense,
right? That
they just hemorrhage run game production. So I don't think it's like a concerning matchup for Michael Penix, especially since we're kind of expecting a back and forth affair. But I mean, Bijan Robinson, though, 4 straight games where he's reached 22 carries. The first time he reached 22, so he had a career high 26 4 weeks ago, and then he reached 22 the week after. That 22 was then the second most carries he'd ever handled in a game, and now he's done it 3 weeks in a row. So the run game commitment with and without Kirk Cousins so far has been complete for the Falcons. And if they can run, if a game script and game environment allows them to, they will be doing so against the Commanders.
12 touches for Tyler Algier, and he did nothing with them, unfortunately.
All right, thank you. I was more worried where you were going with that. I was getting it to stop. Then when you said he was bad, I was like, all right, no, I actually keep saying that.
Tell me more. Tell me more about how bad he was.
Tell me more. We will tell you more about the Chiefs and Steelers when we come back right after this. It's a critical matchup in the nation's capital with NFC playoff implications on Sunday Night Football. Catch the Falcons as they travel north to battle Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Coverage of the matchup begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock. Denny, it kind of seems like I should have done that ad read before
I mean, some would say that would have been better than the way you actually handled it.
Some would say Adam isn't here today, and that he would have easily put the promo read before we talked about that game, and then we would have done so.
And so this is really Adam's problem.
It is. Yeah, curious. Where's Adam? Yeah, where's Adam?
Where is he? I'm calling him. Can't
answer. What's he doing on Wednesday? Come on, give me.
I texted him 15 times. Nothing.
There's nothing going on Wednesday this week, Denny. That's actually not true. There's 2 football games going on. The Chiefs at the Steelers, 42.5 game total. The Chiefs, man. So first of all, my first bone to pick with this game, a 2.5 point favorite. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Are we seriously going to believe there's almost no difference between the Chiefs and the Chiefs now, who have become a covering colossus? Back-to-back weeks have easily covered their spread.
Colossus.
Seriously, this feels like it's up to 3 now. So some people were agreeing with me that the spread was egregiously low, but this stop pretending the Steelers. I guess it would be the most Steelers thing ever to win.
It would be. It really would be for them to easily win against Mahomes.
So I guess. Oh shoot! I forgot about that.
You forgot that Tomlin tries when the chips are down.
He does. Seriously, it's the 85 Bears. I'm like, man, the 85 Bears need to be. I know it's 18.5 the spread, but it needs to be like 24.5.
Right.
And Tomlin's Steelers win the game. But so it seems like a very aspirational spread from our nation's bookmakers, Denny. Especially because the Chiefs' offense, it's getting in gear, Denny. It's getting in rhythm. You and Kyle have been haters all year, but Patrick Mahomes suffers an ankle sprain so high that it makes him healthier. That's step 1. Like, he's actually healthier. Now, his ankle was messed up before he had the high ankle sprain. Now it's back in alignment. So the quarterback's healthier. The receiver core is actually healthier, Denny. Hollywood Marquise Brown was welcomed back to the mix on Saturday. What did we see? What can we expect?
Yeah, I mean, it actually was really encouraging stuff for Hollywood Brown. He ran a route on only 15 of 41 dropbacks for the Chiefs against the Texans, but he was targeted on 53% of those routes. He had 5 catches on 8 targets for 45 yards. Like, that to me is a sign. Also, Andy Reid coming out on Monday and saying that we're going to ramp up Hollywood for week 17. Those are good signs. Like, I think that they're being very intentional about how they're using him. But the fact, being targeted on half of your routes, even if it's very limited, and that won't keep up. If he runs 30 routes this week, he's not going to be getting 15 targets. But I think that is a good sign for him. We also saw, finally, I think the Chiefs have given up on the whole Xavier Worthy go Burr experiment as far as like going downfield with it, because that wasn't working, whatever that was. I don't know. I'm not going to blame anybody. Obviously, Mahomes is Mahomes, mid-home, some are calling him, but
true cut your mic type moment.
But literally can't hit Xavier Worthy down the sideline.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, so Worthy against Houston was used primarily from the slot. He had an ADOT, an average depth of target of 6.5. So headed into week 16, Xavier Worthy was averaging 11 air yards per target. In that game against the Texans, he averaged less than 6 air yards per target. So lots of design, check down things. That makes him way, way more interesting, I think, for fantasy than the previous profile, which was prayer yards, basically.
Genuine prayer yards. Yeah, and back-to-back weeks, new career high for targets of 11. He had never had more than 8 before. And that had been like before Halloween, where it just seemed like the 6 weeks in between then and now, they've been just trying to figure out how to use him. They couldn't figure it out. And it seems like they basically settled on make him a Rashee Rice clone. And maybe not a great long-term plan for a guy who should be able to bust plays down the field, but it just isn't happening right now. And is that too simplistic to say he's maybe settling into the Rashee Rice role? Are they different roles? Or
well, I mean, Hopkins has at least part of that role. Hopkins, by the way, finally got over that 50% route mark against the Texans. He ran around on 29 of 41 dropbacks, had 4 catches for 39 yards. I mean, it's not great, and you're not excited to start him. But I think that Rashee Rice role is kind of being split up. I think Worthy. I mean, are you going to rank Worthy above Hopkins this week?
Oh, yeah. I actually already had been.
Oh, you had? Okay.
At least last week. I don't remember 2 weeks ago, but I had very very slightly shifted him ahead, I believe, of DeAndre Hopkins.
I think that's
I
right.
don't know if I had either in the top 36. It's so complicated with Hollywood Brown now back, Denny. Like in a vacuum, what are we telling fantasy managers, fantasy finals? Like, can we trust Marquise Brown and can we trust Xavier Worthy in our lineups?
Yeah, I don't think that you're trying to like jam Hollywood Brown because again, ramping up his usage really could mean, instead of a 30% route rate, he gets like 50. And that doesn't really make a difference, a huge difference anyway. So I would say he's a wide receiver 4.
That sounds right. I mean, ramp up is going to be what it is too, because they want to get this number 1 seed. We know the game the Chiefs are playing. They're everything about getting ready for the Super Bowl and orienting for the Super Bowl.
I think Brown could be important in that run, though.
Absolutely, because even I have to. It really was not tenable. Well, I don't know if they could. I don't know if I was about to say it wasn't tenable for Hollywood. I was say I don't know if they could beat the Bills. I don't think like adding Marquise Brown really like enhances that particular mission that much, but. They were too undermanned, just too little firepower.
Well, I would say that, so little speed. I mean, Kelsey and Hopkins are legitimately slow.
Kelsey is like, man, like the guy, does he need to lose like 20 pounds for the playoffs? I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, that guy's just out for a jog. Like he's just getting some exercise out there, which is nice. I mean, you have to respect it. I wish I played a little football to get a little exercise. I could use it.
There was quite literally this morning another article about how he just sometimes doesn't run routes.
No,
like so he's just out there like kind of chilling.
Right. It's just I mean, he catches that critical 3rd or 4th down conversion 2 weeks ago against the Chargers when he's just sitting there on his knees. Like and then Mahomes just like tosses him the ball. It was the least dramatic critical conversion I've ever seen.
Yeah, when Kyle Pitts doesn't run around, it's bad. But when Travis Kelce doesn't run around, everyone thinks it's amazing.
I'm curious, and people say Kelce's better than Pitts.
Yeah, sure. The difference could not be more stark. But why is it bad? One guy does it, not bad with the other guy. Kyle Pitts, by the way. Yikes.
We gotta pull the plug there.
We do, but here's why it might work for us.
No,
it's funny. Isn't it funny? I was never in on Pitts. I was kind of in on him his 2nd year for some reason. Everyone has to fall for it at least once.
All right,
but
we had separate paths in the Kyle Pitts situation. You were out on him on draft night, which that's to your credit. I mean, because that took. I have to give you credit because. That took a lot of bravery because the consensus was this is a generational player. No one has ever been like him, nor will anyone ever be like him. He's Megatron playing tight end. And you said he's a tight end. That's a tight end is a tight end is a tight end. They're all the same. And it's true. It's true. It turns out he's completely useless in the NFL.
One of the points I love to make, it'd be one thing if he even were a tight end. He doesn't have a position like this is bad. He needs a position. Like when they don't have a position, they never know what to do.
That's right. And I think that we established that at some point last summer when coaches say this guy is positionless, that's not good.
It's not. And Xavier Worthy's got a bit of like positionless thing going.
Yeah.
You can do something deep, you can do it underneath.
No, it's not good. You don't want to hear that. Because that's basically them saying I have no idea what the hell to do with this guy.
No. You don't want to hear that. Do you want to hear I am starting Patrick Mahomes in the fantasy finals?
I think you're going to get a nice floor. The Steelers allow the 7th fewest quarterback fantasy points. I've never used that metric on the show before, but it's all I got for now. Mahomes obviously wants to prove that his ankle injury is fine, so he's going to keep running like he's Michael Vick, as he did against Houston. So I'm not telling you to not play him, but like give me someone else. Give me someone who might start.
The problem is I haven't even done my initial rankings yet. Kind of ill positioned to play the game. Here, keep talking for a second.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson.
You can't go out with Anthony Richardson. I mean, some people might say you can't go out with Patrick Mahomes. I really feel like you can't go out with Anthony Richardson because
who does he play? Do you know? Because I don't know. I mean, the Russian.
Oh my God! Wait till you hear who the Colts play. It's the Giants.
You're starting.
You might got to go out with Anthony Richardson.
You're starting Richardson over Mahomes. Yeah.
It was like a thermo nuke waiting to happen.
Yeah. No, that's 2 to 3 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, that's just a straight up thermo nuke. I mean, that's totally absurd. You have actually no choice but to play Anthony Richardson there. Denny, Patrick Mahomes, or I don't know, Tua.
Against whom?
I don't know.
Sorry.
I forgot. Browns.
Ugh. Oh, is it in Cleveland? Because if it's in
Cleveland, it's over. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. No way am I playing Tua if it's under 75 degrees outside.
Patrick Mahomes. Here's a good one. Or Kyler Murray in LA against the Rams.
Good grief. Man, I you know what? I kind of feel like with the pressure off, Kyler could just nuke.
That's actually the most salient Kyler point I've ever heard. Yeah. Now the game means absolutely nothing. He's going to make his end of season fantasy numbers look good.
Right. Yes. Right. He's going to hit Marvin Harrison for 2 long touchdowns. He's gonna sprinkle McBride with all sorts of valuable targets. McBride's going to score twice. Yeah, and he's going to rush for 100 yards. It's all happening. I'm going Kyler.
Man, that is like seriously too obvious. Final one: Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert against the Patriots.
It's Herbert.
What?
What'd you say?
I said what? Has Herbert even done anything for like a month?
Wait. You said Herbert or Mahomes, right?
Yeah,
Herbert.
No, it's easily Mahomes. Herbert doesn't even do anything anymore.
What are you talking about?
I guess he did on last Thursday, actually. Yeah, I don't know, man. Herbert has 5 touchdowns in his past 5 games.
Regression? Ever heard of it?
Yeah. Well, he's already regressed. He's had 2 each in his past 2.
Oh, wow.
So he's already regressed. Aren't the Patriots like hella mega giga run funnel too? I guess it is.
They're middle of the pack, and they have the shutdown corner. And that he'll probably stick on McConkey.
Mr. Christian Gonzalez, right? We know defensive players. Denny, do we trust George Pickens? 3 weeks he's been out. The Steelers' offense has been absolutely non-functional in his offense. This honestly like a full exposure for the Steelers' offense without George Pickens and Russell Wilson. Or Russell Wilson, yeah, there are a lot of people like Russ is going to get a multi-year deal this offseason. Russ has never been more back, and he loses one player, and it's never ever been.
I mean, it happens to be the best player on the team. So
yes. Do we trust George Pickens for the fantasy finals if he's back in 48 hours on Christmas Day?
Yeah, I think you probably in 12-team leagues. I think you probably have to play him. I mean, the Steelers, I would think, are likely to face negative script here. The entire plane is made out of air yards to Pickens, and so he's going to get opportunities to make splash plays. It's really hard to sit a guy like that. I will say you're gonna struggle to come up with 3 or 4 receivers who you're going to play over him.
Especially because the way you don't win a championship with floor plays, you really do just have to go for the ceiling.
Right. Yeah, and the floor is not great, obviously, but
it's not great. It's not as bad as you would think either, though.
But yeah, so many downfield looks. The Chiefs secondary, I mean, it's not bad, but like per the metrics, it's not great either. It can be exploited. We've seen that, and I think that makes Pickens kind of a must play in 12-team leagues.
He's a must play. He is. Is Najee Harris to the point, Denny, where he's like a must bench? I mean, we're not getting anything from Najee Harris whatsoever.
Yeah, the performance is not bad. The usage is getting progressively worse for Najee Harris. He had 9 rushes for 47 yards last week against the
Ravens.
He did average 3.5 yards after contact, which is a solid rate. Like, so I don't know if that means that he's like faltering down the stretch. Jaylen Warren had 12 rushes for 48 yards, but here's where the usage gets ugly for Harris. Warren had 26 routes versus 8 for Harris against the Ravens. Warren now has 56 routes to only 18 routes for Harris over the past 3 games. I mean, it's not like Warren is winning leagues, but basically Harris being super game script sensitive is not good here against Kansas City.
Najee has 1 catch in his past 3 games. He hasn't cleared 20 carries in 7 games. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's like, what do you do here? Like, you occasionally score a touchdown. He has 2 touchdowns in his past 6 games, Najee Harris. So I honestly am to the point where I'm doing like Hail Mary, like flex options over Najee Harris.
I mean, just to talk about the Pittsburgh backfield, like in half PPR or PPR formats, I think Warren is easily the better option.
He probably has overtaken, especially with the kind of games. I mean, they probably will be playing from behind against the Chiefs.
Harris was kind of splitting the route running and the target getting out of the backfield for a while. Once you strip that away, what do you have? You have between the 20s work, and you have the occasional goal line look, and so you're praying for a touchdown, and even a touchdown doesn't get you there. No. That'll get you 10, 12 points.
I learned that the hard way last night. Bucky Irving scoring a touchdown doesn't matter since Jalen McMillan catches 5 passes. I've been radicalized against PPR.
You were so mad. Oh my God.
I was. I mean, come on, man. But too, when I thought he had caught that second touchdown, my life actually flashed. This is like cruel and unusual. And then when the ball got wrestled away for a pick, I'm like, we've never been more back. And then they played Rashad White in the 2-minute drill and lost.
Yeah, that was almost a really cool play.
Yeah, almost. Guess who doesn't cough that up immediately? Bucky Irving.
No, Bucky Irving would have gained another 15 yards on that play.
No, it was the heart. Man, when you get a real fantasy sweat, it is so awful. Like, I got done with the podcast last night. I had the final quarter and a half of the game to watch, and it was just genuinely in misery. Like, this is stupid.
It's every play is excruciating.
I was just seriously in misery.
Yeah.
And
that's
why
you're
squinting. You're squinting at their numbers. Like, is that Bucky or is that Rashad? Oh my God, it's Rashad.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and you memorize how these guys move as like a coping mechanism.
You do.
So that you can go anywhere in the house and just like glance at a TV and be like, oh, that guy's moving like Rashad White. I'm finished.
No, it's seriously like I think I had a moment like that on Thanksgiving with my parents where I seriously like peered in from the kitchen. And I could tell from someone's gait. Like, that's Zeke. Like,
yeah.
My dad's like, no, I think it's some guy named Rico. And I'm like, no, trust me, that's Zeke.
No.
And
was it Zeke?
No, I just can't even remember the player it was. But
I love when my dad will call me and be like, hey, you see that touchdown in the Cowboys game? And I'm like, no, I'm doing something right now. Who scored? I don't know. It's a running back. I was like, which running back, Dad?
I know.
He's like,
that's another thing with our boomer fathers. They don't care like who the player is. Like,
no.
Unless it's Brady, then they don't care. They don't care. Boomer dads, I'm trying to think, who have they clung to recently? Can't really remember. This is not a joke. My dad, for some reason, the other day texted me about Brady.
Really?
I think it's because he was listening to him call the game. But he was just like, Brady really was great or something. It was something like that. And then he did also say he was getting better as an announcer, which I don't know. Do you agree with that?
I would say he's gone from like cringe inducing to like kind of passable.
He's like workman-like, but yeah, you're not supposed to.
Yes, it's workman-like because it's still really like nothing that you don't know. When he'll say,
no, that's the thing.
When you have third down, you want it to be shorter rather than longer.
No, because that was the thing. He has seen literally everything you could see in NFL football and like multiple eras. I just feel like we're not getting enough of that insight still.
Yes.
From Tommy.
That'd be cool if we got that.
I feel like we do get it from Greg Olson, is why it's frustrating. You know who else you get it from? I heard some people disagree with this take, and I'm sorry to spend so much time talking about Fox football announcers, but Mark Sanchez is my guy.
I like Mark Sanchez. He's very honest.
He's very exactly. Mark Sanchez, I think, really conveys the watching the game on the couch with him too.
Yeah,
where he's like, "Oh man, that sucked."
Right? No, he'll be like, "I don't know what that guy was thinking. That was terrible."
He really does say that. my most controversial Fox football analyst opinion, by the way, I kind of like listening to Mark Schlereth. I'm not gonna lie.
I actually don't mind it so much.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind. It's sometimes like, yeah, you know what? He is right. You do. It just got to be tougher.
No, I don't like when a team goes for it on 4th and inches and he's like, should have punted. I don't like that.
Well, there was a tragic, poignant moment with Mark Schlereth last weekend where he didn't understand the clock situation in the Jets game. I already forget what the clock controversy was. I think he kind of did. Basically, there was a moment where he tried to go full analytics, and you could tell he was like trying to be brave and going full analytics. But it ended up being a moment where like the analytics were not clear.
Yes, right. I love when tough guys try to get brave with analytics when it's like absolutely the wrong time to do it.
Exactly. That happened to poor Mr. Mark Schlereth, and it was poignant because it hurt him to do like an analytics.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, this guy wants punts. He wants 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He wants field goals from the 1 yard line. This is what he wants.
We need more punts. We need more breaks. We'll be right back after this. The holidays just got merrier with Premier League festive fixtures on NBC, USA, and streaming on Peacock. Today through January 6th, we are bringing you the greatest gifts, magical moments, and holiday cheer. Don't miss a moment of the drama and excitement from the best players in the world. Denny, I should have said drammer. That's how the drammer, all the drammer of the Premier League. How our British friends lived it. By the way, Denny, what are you going to be doing for the Boxing Day festive fixtures on USA, Peacock, and NBC? You're going to be watching?
Of course. I'll be watching that as I do every Boxing Day. By the way, we have a new headline up on the site. It says this is important here. Aaron Rodgers willing to take a pay cut in 2025 so that someone doesn't have to pay him as if he's an elite quarterback.
Wow. Yeah. That'd be stirring.
That's big of him.
It is big of him. Do you think? I think it's probably over for him. I don't think anyone's going to want to deal with this again.
I think he will play next year for somebody. He can't go out like this.
He can't go out. He knows he can't go out like this. But I think he's reached a moment of like Favre tedium where basically apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Like almost like Barry Bonds type tedium. Like Barry Bonds could have played like 3 or 4 more years. But people just did not want the baggage after 2007. Yeah, they just moved on. He could have clearly played like 2 or 3 more years, but no one would sign him. Rodgers, it's not nearly as clear that he could continue playing. But I think that the TDM has probably gotten to be too much.
I feel like there are at least a few teams who would gladly take on a reduced contract without all the all the baggage. Look. We're not going to be able to guess because Aaron Rodgers is an enigma. First and foremost,
that's true.
We don't know anything about him. He's never.
I know. I wish he would share.
He's not public about anything.
I wish he would share. Didn't we know anything about you other than all you do is eat chickpeas?
I love chickpeas. Had some just before the show.
Love chickpeas. We love the Ravens at the Texans. The second of 2 games on Christmas Day. We're not going to mention the network. It's not even a real network. It's an app. Oh, wow. Watch the games on an app. Cool. Yeah, that's great.
The boomers have never been down worse.
Hopefully I have a smart television. I mean, everyone has a smart TV.
Yeah. Do Zoomers watch football games on their phone?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Oh.
Yeah, sure they do.
Nice.
I watched Mizzou, Illinois basketball on my phone yesterday because it was on during the NFL games.
Pretty sick. That's pretty. Yeah. I'm disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, well, Denny, so you're only like 3 or 4 years older than me. I do feel like there's a massive technological between us somehow. That those were 3 or 4 like really critical years. and like we're like, I know how to use a computer, and I still feel like you're kind of like, well, what's this?
Yeah, I can barely use a laptop. I think every year difference for 80s kids is exponential.
It genuinely, yes.
Yeah.
Genuinely, yes. So,
like, I was born in 83. People born in 81, way worse than me with technology.
No, it's true. It was exponential. We're hoping the points are exponential in the Ravens and Texans, and we're knowing that they won't be, Denny.
No, absolutely.
Although a game total is 4 points higher than Chiefs Steelers, I guess the Ravens are holding that up. The game is in Houston. Baltimore's 4-point favorites. Baltimore kind of trying to take control of the AFC North. Houston just trying to figure out like what it is they do here heading in the playoffs. They've now lost Tank Dell. And so that brings us to the Ravens have been a good fantasy matchup for almost the entire year for enemy quarterbacks, Denny. But I'm assuming we just really aren't interested in streaming CJ Stroud against Baltimore for the fantasy finals, just for how broken and now just how undermanned this Texans offense is.
Right. I mean, Tank Dell being out means that Robert Woods is now like a big part of this offense. Not big, but a part of this offense. So yeah, I think you're doing everything in your power not to start CJ Stroud this week. I have to note this, this kind of went under the radar, at least for me, which I'm kind of disappointed in myself. But since week 11, Houston is 12% over its expected pass rate. They are the pass heaviest team in the NFL over that stretch. Okay.
What?
So yeah, week 11 to week 16, Stroud has averaged almost 40 dropbacks per game over that span. And this is sort of, this is a boosted volume for everybody in the pass game. Obviously, Nico Collins, first and foremost, it was helping Tank Dell. It looked like Tank Dell had finally become fantasy viable because of this situation. But Dalton Schultz, who had 8 targets last week against Kansas City, he's averaging almost 6 targets per game since week 11. He's being targeted on 18% of his routes since week 11. Like, that's not a bad profile for a tight end.
It's not. So then is Dalton Schultz a must start for the fantasy finals they're undermanned, they've been passing more, and it's a pass funnel defense, Denny?
Yeah, I would start him over fringe tight end ones. I don't know if you have any lined up here, but
let's say, for instance, Denny, Brenton Strange.
Brenton Strange.
We're gonna pretend that didn't happen.
I have to look into his usage. I didn't because I saw that maybe he was injured or something. Or he wasn't in the game in the fourth quarter, so I was a little.
Rug pull was absolute, Denny.
Was it really? Okay, we're gonna look at Brenton Strange real quick. All right. It was 15 routes on 42 dropbacks. Nevertheless, wow, that's
meme coin level of rug pulling.
Yeah, right. And now I'm poor. Wow. Luke Farrell was right there as far as route running. Oh my gosh, Josiah DeGuara. You remember this guy?
The H-back, Josiah DeGuara, the last weapon they ever drafted for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
The H-back, he's involved. It's over for Strange. Wow.
Unless hopefully it was health related.
Because seriously, we need to look powerfully into this because
we need to look so powerfully into Strange.
That's so bad. Anyway, Dalton Schultz for sure.
Dalton Schultz or your god, Hunter Henry, against the Chargers.
Henry, doing absolutely nothing with 9 targets against the Bills is just devastating. Did he catch a touchdown?
I feel like he catch a touchdown, actually. Yeah,
he got a touchdown.
He got away with
in
it.
Your face.
I
know. Schultz, yeah.
Dalton Schultz or the other Dalton, Kincaid against the Jets.
Schultz.
Yeah, man, you are right. Dalton Schultz or I don't know, does Jake Ferguson even belong in these conversations anymore?
I'd still go with Schultz.
Dalton Schultz final one or Tucker Kraft against the Vikings.
You know what? I would go Kraft.
Luke Musgrave is back though. It sounds like. I wonder if that's gonna hurt.
And that throws a little wrench into things. But I will say Minnesota is like the one team that might make Matt LaFleur throw it more than 10 times.
Well, remember they didn't a few weeks ago, and they lost. They finally
totally started
to, but
no, I hear you. But I think that like if anybody can, it's them. And Tucker Kraft is hyper efficient per reception. Like he makes a lot happen with just a little bit of opportunity.
I was misremembering, but that was the Lions too, by the way, not the Vikings. Where everyone thought the Packers were going to have to throw, and they finally didn't. They did throw against the Vikings in Week 4 after they fell behind like 28-0.
Oh yeah, they did. They were 76% drop back rate in Week 4. So
they were getting annihilated. They were getting annihilated.
It doesn't matter. We could cook.
Doesn't matter. So. Any other Texan in lineups besides Nico and apparently Dalton Schultz? Joe Mixon, of course, who looks like he's on. The guy's like on gas vapors. Like the gas light has been on for it's like the Kramer Seinfeld thing. The gas light's been on for 30 miles. And when Bobby Slowick's like, just keep going, man.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud's like, we should probably get off the highway here. Slowick's like, keep going.
Keep going. We are going to put this thing on the floor. You're starting Mixon, but besides that, I would just say Robert Woods. He saw 6 targets in 14-team leagues where you're just down horrific. You might be able to throw him in.
Do you have any mix and cooked stats? Like, is cooked, not cooking?
Just generally a big dip in yards after contact per rush over the past 3 games, I should say. So just not nearly as efficient. And it's not like he was super efficient to begin the season.
No.
But that's really fallen off here. And I think it might explain why, again, can't emphasize this enough, no team has been pass heavier than the Texans since week 11.
It really does coincide with that. Real quick, what does this game environment look like for the Ravens passing attack? Zay Flowers apparently banged up with a shoulder issue.
So this looks like a Zay Flowers sort of game. If he does play, the Texans can get picked apart in the short areas. We saw that with the Chiefs last week. Bateman, I know he got away with it again. I know I told folks not to play him, but I was right, unfortunately, and the results were wrong. They were very unfair. So I still think you'd be very careful with Bateman. But beyond Andrews and Flowers, I don't think you can be confident in anybody.
Yeah, you can't be with everything on the line. The only thing with Bateman, it does remain like if you're in desperation, wide receiver 4, second flex. Rashad Bateman at least makes big plays.
Yeah,
maybe this will be one of the weeks he makes a big play. He's not like Wandale Robinson. I'm trying to think of him. He's not like Michael Wilson. No. He's going to catch 2 balls for 63 yards, and there's a 0.0% chance one of them's in the end zone.
And volume is a problem here, as it usually is with the Lamar Ravens. Since week 11, only 4 teams have a lower pass rate over expected than Baltimore. This is not a team that's airing it out, even in trailing situations.
Speaking of airing it out, the Seahawks did finally air it out, as I mentioned earlier, on Sunday. It seemed like the first time in eons against the Vikings. Yeah. The Bears don't want to be airing it out, but every single week game script forces them like 72 Caleb Williams dropbacks.
Right.
Not entirely sure what to expect for this short week game on Thursday night. Seattle's 3.5-point favorites in Chicago. So like we said, we saw Seattle passing for the first time in what seriously seemed like ages on Sunday. Can we expect that again? This is a pretty tough Bears pass defense, a pretty bad Bears run defense, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
That's right. Bears pass defense good. Bears run defense not good. And teams play them accordingly. They're a top 5, run funnel, have been for almost the entire season. And you're right about how long it's been since Seattle was pass heavy. Like I said, 14% over their expected pass rate in week 16. That was their pass heaviest game since week 5.
Wow.
So that you were right on there. So I would expect something more around like 0 as far as pass rate over expected goes here. I will say that, we're just seeing total domination from JSN here. As far as target share goes, over the past 3 weeks, 29 targets for JSN to only 16 for Metcalf. JSN's playing 80% of his routes from the slot and being targeted on 26% of those routes. That's just wild. Like, he's an elite play every week. And DK, started hot this past week against the Vikings, but I just don't think that he fits what this offense is trying to do.
Denny, he started hot, then his quarterback ended hot, as we've mentioned. Where Geno's favorite. Geno's here to throw 1 touchdown every single week and to scream at DK Metcalf, and he's already thrown his touchdown.
Publicly humiliate the big man with the 10-pack abs.
I feel so bad for DK, but I guess run the right route or something.
Right.
Or
Geno demands perfection, and he's not going to apologize for that.
He demands perfection from everyone but himself.
Wow.
Come on. Everyone's thinking it.
Too soon.
Denny, the Bears continue to be super hyper pass heavy. Can we count on that here? It seems like they have no other options. They don't have a running game. They can't ever get a lead. It just seems like every week now we're getting 40 Caleb Williams passing.
Yeah.
What do you expect against the
Seahawks? 78% drop back rate against Detroit.
Wow.
We'll probably see something similar, something over 70% here. And that really works. Keenan Allen, of course, has a huge day in week 16. Rome Odunze probably should have had a bigger day. Seems to make errors pretty consistently.
On the reg.
Yeah. And so all three Bears receivers remain in play very much in 12-team leagues because they can't run it and they don't try to run it. And so there are so many targets to go around here. And yes, I mean, Odunze is not going to see a ton of those, but he sees a lot of high value ones downfield. So he should be in consideration for wide receiver 3 purposes. I mean, what I should say about Odunze, very few wide receiver 3 or 4s have that sort of upside and volume-based upside because of the nature of the offense that he's in.
That's a really good point. And it's just the classic extension of the running game passing attack, basically, for the Bears here. But they don't have a running game, so that they supplement it with short passing, and that almost never works, but it works in fantasy. Is it the point? Should Keenan Allen be ranked ahead of DJ Moore?
Maybe. I mean, it should be really close. I'm sure you have them close, but
they're going to be close. Again, I have not done my initial rankings yet. I'm not looking forward to it either, by the way.
But yeah, I mean, whatever Keenan Allen is seeing a lot of easy button stuff, but also, DJ Moore is as well. So I think that they should be just considered in the same tier for sure.
Definitely in the same tier. So yep. We'll be watching that on Thursday night. We'll be previewing the entire Week 17 slate for you on the site. It's going to be a little different with the holidays, so kind of hard to get everything in there. Our next podcast will be on Thursday with Kyle. We're going to preview the games that have not been played yet. We tried to preview those ones today. The rankings are going up on Tuesday. I have no idea what kind of analysis will be accompanying that. I'm just going to be fully honest with you. It's going to be kind of whatever I have time to do. It's a little challenging around here to when I normally write on Tuesday evenings and Wednesday to get an article up on Christmas Eve. Especially when you having the 4 kids doesn't usually affect my work until it's Santa Claus time.
Listen, Bob Cratchit, you better be writing that analysis.
I know.
And if you do, then you get 3 more lumps of coal that you can burn in the fire.
That's good. Yeah, it's very cold here. When are your articles going up this week, Denny?
Yeah, we have regression files Tuesday morning. And then the funnel defense report will be up late Thursday or early Friday.
And the Sunday aftermath is already on the website if you want to read a breakdown of Week 16.
I should say, I'm sorry, real quick, Pat. No Friday stream for me. We might bring that back for Week 18.
They finally canceled Denny. Either that or he might be going to Canada.
The ratings got so bad they had no choice.
They
I will be in Canada.
NBC television executives have finally pulled the plug on Friday.
It was a critical darling, but
it was a critical darling. Same with Kyle and I's waiver chat. Maybe we should all do like a live. Maybe for Week 18, you, me, and Kyle should do like a live one together or something.
We should do a podcast together.
Yeah, well, where we actually answer questions, kind of like the old days, like we used to do on Sundays.
Oh yeah, okay.
That might be fun. We'll look into that. We hope you enjoy your holidays. We hope you have a Merry Christmas. For Denny Carter, I'm Patrick Daugherty. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back later in the week with our friend Kyle.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Rotoworld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.